Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. I am broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube. I am also here on Instagram as well. Another episode of Supreme being the podcast. Thank you for all the support. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on your preferred listening platform, whether that's Spotify, iTunes, or anything like that. I know we've really been getting a lot of downloads and more reach on the podcast, and that seems to be one of the few platforms that haven't really been stopped or censored, right? Again, if you guys are listening to this and you were a friend on my old Facebook, make sure that you friend me over on my new Facebook profile and find me, because it's been about a year now that they deleted out of nowhere my original Facebook. Make sure you get up to speed on Instagram and YouTube as well. Put the notifications back on and we'll get started, okay? Just before we get into this, one thing that I'm doing right now that people always ask me about that I want to talk about for a quick minute is fasting, right? I'm fasting today. My last meal was yesterday evening around 6 or 7 p.m. and I will not be eating again until the afternoon time tomorrow, Sunday. So I'll be going probably close to 48 hours, right? I do this regularly. I recommend that all of you do it at least once a month. It's a good way to cleanse your system, get any excess garbage out of your body, really get in tune again with your mental sharpness, right? Right now, I'm starting to feel really good. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet since my last meal, but I'm really, really feeling amazing. All right. So today I want to discuss the consequences of staying the same, right? That's what I named this on the podcast and on Facebook and YouTube. And I really want to go over some things with you guys in order to hammer some of these points home. This morning, I decided, and this goes against my own process and wisdom, right? I'm one to say in different categories, but specifically the example today is in athletics, right? Normally, I won't play basketball with people who aren't good, not just because they're not good, but because they don't understand things that athletes understand. So today, long story short, making a move, some guy pulls my body a certain way while I'm going the other way, and I ended up injuring my hamstring a little bit near the knee. And it's nothing serious. It's going to be more of an annoyance over the next 2 or 3 days probably, but still. I have nobody to blame but myself for putting myself in that position. Normally, if I do decide to play basketball with random people, I'll go super light. I'll just run. I'll play some defense, but I don't really attack or play aggressively or put myself in a position to potentially be injured. I'm only going to do that playing with better players, right? So how does this correlate? Well, the same thing can be said about hanging out with negative people, right? It's going to rub off on you. Something's going to happen. Right. But what I want to focus on specifically today outside of that story, even though that's just the example, is there's no stagnant state in the universe, right? There's no stagnant state. We know that you're either getting better, you're getting worse, you're getting older every day, right? Things are changing. The flowers around you and nature is blossoming, right? And it never stays the same every single day. And you have to know that. So those of you who now change your perspective for a second to your finances, well, if you made the same money today as you did a year ago, right, it's less because of inflation, right? No matter which category we look at, staying the same, remaining the same has consequences. There is no, I'm going to stay the same or do the same thing. You have to improve. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. There's no staying the same. And I want to make that clear to you because a lot of people believe they can just coast, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I see with people is they will start off good, start off well with all the right habits, all the right processes. They'll be doing everything right. And then they get a little blip of success. They start getting a taste of doing well and they take their foot off the gas and they think, oh, I can just coast now, or I can keep doing the same thing. It's not the way it works, dude. You got to be getting better. You got to keep pushing harder. Now that you hit the next level, you have to continuously, just like what I'm doing with calisthenics, right? I'm getting stronger, and as I'm getting stronger, we do more advanced moves. So I still get sore, I still push, I do a little bit more, I do a few more sets, we do increased difficulty in regards to certain exercises, and that process keeps continuing, right? If you continue to do the same thing over and over, you stagnate, you can get worse, right? I'm not going to get better in calisthenics by doing the same thing over and over forever, right? Eventually it has to change. Just like now I'm doing weighted pull-ups and some weighted variations of the exercises. Well, eventually I'm going to add more sets and then more reps and then increase the weight. I'm not doing the same thing, right? That's how I progressively get stronger. How about some of you with some of the business stuff that you're doing, right? I look at people, even just their lack of awareness and mastery around money, right? You refuse to learn and grow. One piece, the first piece is income, increasing your income, right? Then focusing on your active income. Then now taking your money and investing it into yourself and back into your business. That's the next step. You can't hit that wall and refuse to do it. And the people who refuse to invest in themselves and their businesses will never grow. They think, oh, I'm just going to get the next job and the next job. Well, there's job, then there's career, right? Then there's running your own business, which has infinite scalability, right? You'll be able to increase your income much more and have less of a ceiling creating your own business than you will working for somebody else. We know this. But you have to grow. Why? Stepping into entrepreneurship or running your own business requires a shift of mentality if you're coming from a regular job, a part-time, a full-time, or a long career, right? Something's going to have to change. So we keep focusing on particular things and approaching these subjects with this rigidity in our mind and what we do. And people don't realize that it's so detrimental to your growth, right? So if we're going to go back to the beginning example that I gave you at the beginning of this podcast, right? Me having this slight annoyance and injury. What did I do? I did not listen. I did not listen to myself and the previous wisdom that I had acquired. Therefore, I'm going to pay the price because that's the way this universe works, or whatever you believe in. You do something, you make a mistake, or maybe you do it right, but you learn, okay, this is the way you approach this, or this is the way you do this, right? We learn the teaching, you move on, you grow. Then the next teaching is presented. If you keep fumbling and making the same mistake, you're going to keep being taught that same thing and suffering the consequences over and over and over until you learn. And those consequences will get more severe and more severe and more severe. How can I give you an example of this? Well, if you make basic money mistakes about putting yourself in the hole, as you increase your income, if you don't fix that, the consequences financially will be more and more devastating as time goes on because you're not learning. You're not approaching this teaching correctly. You're not applying the knowledge for it to become wisdom. Therefore, you'll keep throwing salt on that wound, right? And again, the consequences get worse. If I crash a $20,000 plane versus a $20 million plane, the consequences are much worse for crashing a $20 million plane, right? Much more investment, a lot more money wasted and man hours and all that stuff with the $20 million plane versus the $20,000 plane. So what do? We learn how to fly and master the process with the $20,000 plane because the consequences are much less for damaging that or crashing it. Then when you hit a particular level of mastery, you upgrade to a bigger plane and a more expensive plane and so on and so forth. The same thing that we do with every process. What do you do before you walk? You crawl and you master crawling. Then you start walking, then you fall down, right? And then you keep learning until you stop falling down. So again, whichever way we slice this thing and look at it, we're going to have to approach it the same way. Because if that same kid who falls a couple of times and says, man, I can't learn. When he stops falling, it's because he's learned how to not fall and walk properly. What do? We fall twice. Fuck it. Crawling is the only thing I'm going to do. Forget walking. That's what people do. Now, substitute walking with whatever it is, the next thing you have to master or get better at, or the teaching that needs to be applied finally correctly. Right? This formula is universally applicable. That's what I love about these principles and these things. You can point to any direction of your life, right? Like the people, as an example, who struggle with diet and lifestyle, who get caught up in the yo-yo of getting in shape and out of shape and eating like crap and then eating well. There's a teaching in there that you're not learning. Something is off and you're not applying it, right? There's something seriously wrong there internally that's causing you to go back and forth and not commit to the right thing. This is why I don't do the cheat meals and all this other shit that people do, because I'm still buying into that old philosophy. I just eat correctly all the time. I don't miss eating garbage. I don't need cheat meals. I don't do any of that nonsense. Why? Because I've internally shifted and grown and developed to where I don't need that stuff. That's what the average person does. I have zero desire to put junk in my body anymore, period. Does that mean I'm 100% perfect? No, but I'm fucking damn close, man. Very close. Right? But I've had to attain a different level by putting myself in circumstances, learning things, and dedicating myself to that craft to unlock that. I don't look at people eating junk food and think, oh man, I wish I had that. It's disgusting to me at this point because I've grown and developed. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do it, nor do I have a desire to do it at all. I'm not missing anything, right? You'll allow outside pressures and peer pressure. Oh, you're a party pooper. Oh, you're a loser. Really? I'm a loser because I don't drink? Give me a fucking break, man. Like, what are you, 3 years old telling me that? Stupid. Now, does that mean I'll never drink? I might, right? Huge celebration somewhere, maybe I'll have a drink sometime, right? But what I'm saying is that's going to be the extreme exception to the rule. It's not going to be normal behavior for me. I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to watch somebody eating something too and be like, oh my God, I want it. It doesn't matter, dude. You got to develop past that. Internally, a shift was made. I learned, I grew, I changed, I evolved to the next level. And you have to keep doing this in all categories. I'm giving you these simple areas of life because these are the typical struggles for people. Same thing with their communication and interactions, particularly with the opposite sex. Man, I don't understand how like people want to deny just the nature of man and woman and act like that's not a part of reality. It's crazy. But without even getting into that talk, let's strictly focus on the communication aspect, which I brought up. If you develop and get better as a communicator, your interactions with the same sex, opposite sex, men, women, kids, everybody improves. Therefore, your life experience improves. You make more money if you're a salesperson, whatever it is. You have to develop. You can't stay the same. And if you cannot handle a particular objection or thing that somebody says and you stay the same, guess what? You're not going to get past it. You're not going to get the sale. You're not going to move forward in the conversation, period. Therefore, the barrier to entry is your ability to get better and not be stomped by that objection. Then when you handle that one, guess what? The next one pops up and you have to continuously master and grow and take the step over and over and over and over, right? If not, what my friend Henry in the chat says, nowadays they're pushing people to be fat and, oh, you're pretty being fat, like fat shaming and all that crap. That's because we've refused to address the real problem. Fat is not healthy. I don't care what way you look at it. And I'm not the wrong person for saying, hey, you're overweight, change it. Because we refuse to improve and get better on these things and understand reality and handle the problem at the source and really solve it, now all this shit gets perpetuated in society. That's one example of not growing and developing and solving the actual problem. Now we perpetuate madness, right? And this happens in every category in every area of life. Why? Because it's the consequences of staying the same and then wanting everything and everyone to conform around that. No, you have to improve. You have to fix the mistakes, and everybody's on that quest and journey, period. Now, for different people, it's different categories. You decide and prioritize which one needs the most work. Period. You need to handle your finances, handle them, right? Then the next thing is presented and you have to keep handling it until the next thing pops up that's the weakest link in your chain. Then fix it. But you cannot stay the same. You cannot stay the same. The consequences of that are devastating to you and to everybody around you. I, as a leader, if I stay the same, the consequences are devastating to my organizations and the members within my organizations and my agents and my employees and everybody who counts on me. Why? Because then I'm dying. And if me as a leader, I'm dying, everyone else is going to go down with me. If I stay the same in my physical capabilities and prowess, I start declining. Even for me to maintain, I still have to do certain things and keep a routine and switch that up. I cannot stay the same. Then I'll begin to decline. Same thing with your finances. How you invest has to diversify, has to change. Your active income has to continuously evolve and grow to beat inflation and to keep growing. It can't stay the same. The same stuff you're doing now is not going to work in 5 years. There's going to have to be some adjustments and growth and scaling and many other things. Are you going to explore that though? People are satisfied staying the same. It's weird, right? Or they attack this and say, well, I'm not supposed to change as a person. You're supposed to change. Yes, certain things about you may remain the same. But even then, your beliefs and philosophies and your viewpoints on life will shift and grow and alter, right? A few things, sure, might stay the same, but does that mean everything has to be blocked out? No. And that's how they attack this stuff, with the exception to the rule. Always. That's how they attack all of nature and everything that makes sense and that's reality is always the fucking exception to the rule. And that's how they'll try to attack your beliefs and philosophies or say something's wrong because of the exception to the rule. The exception to the rule exists. Does that mean that the rule and the existence of something natural or the facts and the truth changes? No, just the exception to the rule. It's the 1 out of fucking 1,000. That doesn't change anything. Right? But we allow ourselves to be polluted and messed with because these things come in. Oh, well, I have to stay the same. And people try to emotionally manipulate me and say, oh, man, I like the older version of you. Or, no, dude. Right? They emotionally manipulate and attack these very principles that allow you to grow and develop. A lot of people do not want you to grow and change. They want you to stay the same. Why? Because then you're less competition for them, unfortunately. It's the crabs in a bucket principle. But you will suffer. The outside will clap for you. Internally, you'll suffer. You grow, you develop. The outside will shame you and talk shit about you, but internally, you'll feel amazing and you'll grow. Those are the consequences. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to allow the outside to be happy while I suffer internally. Not going to happen. Because that's the state of most human beings in today's society, and it's pathetic. This is what's causing the mental health epidemic and all the stuff that you see happening, right? Now, I continue to forge powerful minds with my team and the people closest to me and around me. And I will continue to do that. And I will not stop because the people around me are an army, Team BC, Distinguished Agent, Limitless, all my coaching members and all that. Fucking powerhouses, man. We ain't going to stay the same. So you need to get around some killers, and you yourself need to commit to becoming a killer and saying, I'm not going to be stopped. I'm going to keep growing. I don't care if everything and everyone around me is going left. I'm going to go right if I want to go right, because going right means I'm going to get better. It's pretty crazy. Such a simple concept, yet complex at the same time. But we get complacent, right? We don't have enough greatness around us. We don't raise the standard in our own lives. We don't push the ante. Why do you think I got a coach immediately when I started getting into calisthenics, which is the most recent thing that I got into? Immediately. To push myself, to get better, to improve, to take myself to that level. I'm not going to settle for second or for less. Why would I do anything if I don't want to just be amazing at it? Income, when I decided to raise my income. Right? I didn't stop at 50 grand or 100 grand. Years ago, I'd already broke making over $1 million a year, and I keep pushing it. Social media, let's keep growing it, even though we all get fucking censored, right? Whatever it is. Public speaking, want to get fucking phenomenal at it. Still working at it. Want to become an amazing leader. Still working at it. But I have thriving organizations. Right? I'm not staying the same. And I get attacked online for not staying the same and changing. Good. Keep attacking me. I'm going to keep changing. And you're going to stay the same. Those of you saying that. And you're going to continue to be miserable and live in your mom's basement. So the question becomes, what am I doing every day? And how did I get better from yesterday and the day before? And what am I doing this year compared to last year? And it's just you versus you and getting better. Because I can't measure your greatness. You have to measure it. But you know deep down inside if you're fulfilling your potential and you're pushing yourself, or if you're being lazy. Because only you can be 100% honest and real with yourself, regardless of who you have around you. Okay? So that's it for this one, y'all. Appreciate you coming on. Check out all the links. Schedule your strategy call for those of you who want additional support from us. Get on the email list, join our Discord, and we'll see you on the next episode of Supreme Being. All right? Peace.